Why is it so hard for me to read? Why can't I read like the other kids?
Well, Chris, you know, you have dyslexia. This means you use the right side of your brain more than the left. Most good readers use the left side of their brain, which makes it easier for them to read. Having dyslexia means that you are very creative and gifted, but you have to work a little harder at reading.
Well, how did I get this way?
Oh, you were born this way, just like many other very smart people. In fact, many of the world's most brilliant scientists, leaders, writers, musicians, and artists all had dyslexia. So, let me tell you about a few of these great people. Albert Einstein didn't speak until he was 4, and didn't learn to read until he was 9. He kept to himself and daydreamed much of the day. In the classroom, he had a lot of difficulty understanding what the teacher was saying. When he was a little boy like you, he dreamed about becoming a great physicist. Now, years later, many people consider him to be the most brilliant person that has ever lived.
Wow, he sounds a lot like me. I sometimes have a hard time understanding my teachers.
I know, and Thomas Edison was thrown out of school when he was only 12. His teachers thought he wasn't smart enough to be in school. He had a hard time focusing on math and reading. Instead, he dreamed about lighting up his room with a light bulb. As an adult, he invented more things than anyone who has ever lived. His best-known inventions are the light bulb and phonograph. Can you imagine life without lights or recorded music?
Edison must have felt that he wasn't too smart either, but he must have been pretty smart to invent all those things.
That's right. And one of the most famous mystery writers in the world is Agatha Christie. She had very poor handwriting, and her spelling was atrocious. She imagined characters and stories to write about. She would tell her stories to someone else who wrote them down for her. Agatha is best known for her characters, Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple.
Wow, I've seen Miss Marple on TV.
I know. And another famous dyslexic is George Washington. He had problems with reading and language, and young George dreamed of becoming a great leader. As an adult, he became the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army, and he led the U.S. Army to defeat the British. He also helped write the United States Constitution, and he became our very first president.
Wow, George Washington was dyslexic too?
Yes, he was. And so was Alexander Graham Bell. He had to work extra hard at school. He dreamt about being able to talk to people who were in other places. And when he grew up, he invented the telephone. Imagine what life would be like without telephones.
What would everybody do without their cell phone?
Now that's an interesting thought. Well, remember your favorite fairy tale writer, Hans Christian Andersen? He struggled with spelling and word formations, but dreamt about writing fairy tales. Despite his spelling, he created some incredible stories. Remember Little Mermaid, or The Ugly Duckling? And how about The Emperor's New Clothes?
I know these stories. They're incredible. He was dyslexic too?
Yes, and there are more, like John Lennon, who had great difficulties in school. He preferred to draw and doodle instead of study. Young John dreamt of becoming a famous musician. Later, he helped form the Beatles. He wrote some of the best-known songs ever written, like Strawberry Fields Forever and Norwegian Wood, and his best-known work, Imagine. In the song Imagine, John sings about being a dreamer. He was a dreamer, but he brought great joy and happiness to the world with his music.
So even John Lennon was dyslexic? I've heard his music on the radio.
Yep, and you know the work of another famous dyslexic, Leonardo da Vinci. He wrote many of his notes backwards, writing from right to left. Young Leonardo dreamt of becoming an artist. He later painted the Mona Lisa and The Last Supper. Leonardo is one of the best-known artists and one of the most talented men of all times.
Cool. I've seen a picture of the Mona Lisa.
Hi, I'm Charlie, and I also have dyslexia, and I know how hard it can be. It really does suck. So I came up with a list of 10 things that will help you get through your day and your life a little bit easier. One of the things on my list is used to build up your self-esteem. You have to find something that you're proud of, that you take pride in. If that's drawing or art or playing music or playing sports, whatever you can take pride in and you can feel comfortable doing, that's great. When I was little, I used to do martial arts, and I thought I could see myself progress from blue belt to red belt. And I thought, wow, I took pride in it, and I really enjoyed that. It made me feel good about myself. So I think that's one of the things that you have to find something for you, whatever you enjoy doing. It's up to you. It can't be what your parents tell you to do. It's what you enjoy doing and you feel comfortable with and what you take pride in.